Batman v Superman, Dawn of Just Us.
I've been really trying, baby.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another Sunday Fun Day. And for today, we will be doing another easy fix. And that is the review that I just did for Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. This movie needs quite the fixing, so let's hop right into it. Firstly, maybe try wiping away about a dozen or so plot lines. That was the biggest negative going in for this movie, honestly. There are just way too many. That's really what kills this movie, is it's just a lot of movie into one movie. It's way too much movie. So my ideas here are making this a much more linear story, and also still gives room for, cameos and leading to the Justice League, and I believe it really does set up the DCEU a lot better than what this movie actually did. So the first thing that I would get rid of right away is the plot line with the whole kind of magic bullet thing. It doesn't make any sense. That's Lois Lane's entire plot line, and no, don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on Amy Adams, but I don't care for this plot line at all. I feel like it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever why it's even in there. It's not really necessary, and the reason I don't feel like it's necessary is because the world already knows what Superman's capable of. He already has all this collateral damage on his hands from the events of Man of Steel, so the Supreme Court and the government, they already want him to answer for what he's done, or at least put him under a certain kind of supervision. So the whole kind of disappearing magic bullet Lois Lane plotline, I feel like it's completely useless and I would wipe it out. What I would do with Lois Lane though is make her kind of the Alfred to Superman. Now, not necessarily have to demean her, make her a sidekick or anything, but make her his moral compass. When he doesn't know what to do, when he's conflicted, if he thinks he should, kill Batman, do this, do the right thing, what is the right thing, have her be his moral compass. And next is the big one, because some people, I'd say it's the most enjoyable part of the movie. I think that's pretty well a given. But some people were really kind of pissed about this because it's right there in the title. Batman v Superman. Yet it only takes up 8 minutes of screen time in the 2.5 hour, or the Ultimate Edition, 3-hour runtime. That is such a minuscule part of this entire movie that it'll let a lot of people down. My idea is make that the centerpiece, make it the main plotline. I have 3 main ideas of how these two could face off and have it still make sense with the material that they had. So first one being, you can keep the whole supervision from the government thing for Superman, and then you can also keep the murderous plotline. Even though I'm not a huge fan of it, it makes sense for this story. Keep him on his murderous rage because Robin died. We're assuming that it's the Jason Todd Robin killed by the DCEU's Joker, and then, the government says, hey, guess what? Superman, go kill Batman, because he's gone off the hinges and he is now murdering people. That is also a small little piece taken out of The Dark Knight Returns. Could fit perfectly here. We can just say that the government already has him under the supervision, sends him there. And then again, all of these plot lines end the same way, and that is that they fight each other, they don't kill each other, there is definitely not a Martha scene, and they have to come together in the end rather than fighting each other to take on a bigger threat. And I feel like that's also good too, because you can have a little bit extra there with Clark Kent being the moral compass for Batman and bringing him back on track, saying, about Jason Todd, saying, we've all lost something and don't let that lose track of who you are, don't lose yourself, as well as have them team up by the end of it, and then they can lead together into creating the Justice League. Second plot line, you can keep the Clark Kent investigating Gotham plot line that's already in the movie. So, Clark Kent's supposed to go over to Gotham, do articles on sports and things like that, and instead he finds out Batman's on a murderous spree, and he says, you know what, this guy's gotta be stopped. Again, fight, come together, console each other, puts Batman back on the right path, the Justice League, they come together because they have to fight a common enemy, so on and so forth. Boom, number 3, and that's the same one that's actually already in Batman v Superman, and that is that Batman is out to kill Superman. Keep that whole line, because I actually think that is really good. If we even think that there's a 1% chance that he's our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty. Like, I love all that stuff, and Alfred, again, being his moral compass, just like Lois Lane could be for Superman, and he is set out to steal kryptonite from Lex Luthor and kill Superman. Next might be a bit controversial, and that is that I would completely take out Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman from this movie. I just feel like she's shoehorned in the end anyway. Even though her scenes are super badass in this movie, I would keep her as a cameo. I would say maybe keep that scene where, Bruce Wayne is in Lex's mansion trying to find the kryptonite. Maybe he finds the files there, and then, oh look, there's Aquaman, Wonder Woman, blah blah blah. We know the rest of the Justice League, we need to get them together. And next is another big point, and that is that I would get rid of Doomsday. Now, Doomsday, he's perfectly serviceable as the villain in Batman v Superman, whatever, they gotta come together and fight him. that's fine, but I just feel like they really need a villain that's going to play on both the strengths and the weaknesses of the character. So an idea that I had is maybe have Lex Luthor have his super suit with kryptonite, so he fights Superman, so then that's something Batman has to use his smarts in order to try to take down Lex Luthor's super suit, or have the kind of robot things that they have in Batman, Superman, World's Finest, so they have to come together again, fight them, Lex Luthor has kryptonite, or the Joker, or whatever, right? I just feel like they really need a villain that can balance each other out. So Superman, he's the strength, he's the speed, but Batman's the brain, so you really need to have kind of maybe even a couple of villains, not big villains that are wasted like Doomsday, but just something, like the robots, they're too fast for Batman, they have kryptonite against Superman, so these guys really have to work together. No matter what villain you choose, don't waste them, and you have to have a villain that is going to perfectly balance out these heroes' strengths and weaknesses, that way they are forced to come together in order to take this threat down. And last but certainly not least, probably the most important part of this video, and that is do not kill off Superman in the end of your movie when it's only his second movie and expect us to really care all that much. My perfect ending, and this is one that I've been picturing and hoping for and dreaming for before originally seeing this movie, and that is at the very end of it, they would shake hands and come to some sort of agreement, like, hey, we're gonna create the Justice League, hey, call me if you ever need me, hey, I'll always be around, whatever, but just have them shake hands, they kind of form the bromance, this kind of mutual friendship-ish partnership, just respect for one another. That's how I want this movie to end, and I feel like that also could have set up the rest of the DCEU, rather than the kind of sloppy-ish mess that we got aside from Wonder Woman. They'd be in a much better position for the rest of the DCEU, especially Justice League. So if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know, what would you do to fix Batman v Superman? And be sure to check me out on social media, on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links will be in the description and at the end of the video. And as always, be sure to check out my Instagram page every Friday for the Fan Vote Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap. The theatrical edition is horrible, and I only saw it the one time in theaters, and I will never watch it again. So